Okay, so here we've got adjacent elements product, and it's in PHP. Given an array of integers, find the pair of the adjacent elements that has the largest product and return that product. So here we're given an array, and the output is 21, and that's because each sort of element multiplied with each other next to one another. The largest is 7 times 3, which gives us the 21. So the first thing we want to do here is we're going to have to loop through our array, and we can do it with a for loop. If we do for I is equal to 0, and then we want to do I is less than or equal to. Now we need to count how many elements are in our array, and we can do that using count input array, just like that. And then the next thing we're going to have to do is increment I by 1 each time. So if I was to now do, it's not console log, it is echo. If I was to do echo input array and then I need to make sure we do semicolon here, we should get returned each, our output is there, our echo, yeah, we should get each element returned, and it's 3, 6, -2, -5, 7, and 3. So now we know that that for loop is working. The next thing we want to do is we're going to have to try and pair up our two elements next to each other. And we've now got our first element, but we're going to have to get the element next to it as well. So if I was to do echo input array, just trying to see how I can show you as it's paired. Maybe do it this way with a comma in between. Would that work? Let's have a go. Input array, maybe not a comma. And then if we do I plus 1, would that work? No. And that's not working either. Tell you what, let's just do it on a different line. There we go. So now here, yeah, that's right. So here we're doing our first one, and then we're going to try and get the second one as well. It's quite difficult to see here, but what we've got is 3 and 6. So our first two ones are 3 and 6. Our next one should be 6 and -2. So the next two are 6 and -2, all the way to 7 and 3, which is these two here. Oh. Now, we do come across a bit of a problem, and that is because once we've got 7 and 3, we are now trying to access elements which don't exist. So the next one is going to be 3, because we haven't shortened our loop. So this one here is going to be 3, and then it's going to do input array I plus 1, but there isn't a value after 3. So that's how we get this sort of warning here. And the way in how we can prevent that is by doing -2 here. If we run the tests, you can see here we're not getting any errors now. Now, if we was going to do -1, we will still hit an error, and that's undefined array key 6 line 4. What it's basically saying that, okay, you've got your first one 3, but you're still trying to access the second one because we're doing count input array. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here. So we're going up to 6, and then we're still trying to that doesn't exist. Yeah, because we're doing 6 minus 1. 6, just need to double check here. 6 minus 1 is 5. So then that means we're going to hit, where are we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're still going to try and get the 6th index, which doesn't exist still. So if we do minus 2, then we don't get any errors, and that's because we're counting 6, we're minusing 2, so the last number for input array I is going to be index 4. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Because we're pairing, we've then got 4 plus 1, so the last number should be 3, and that's what we've got here. So now we've sort of successfully paired them up, we need to multiply them together. So I can just do that here. Let's just copy this. And if we do echo input array I multiplied by input array I plus 1, run the test. Now what we can get is 3 times 6 is 18, 6 times minus 2 is minus 12, minus 2 times minus 5 is 10, all the way to the end, and the number we want, which is here, 21 for 7 times 3. Now, the only problem here is this is sort of in a string. So we need to push it into an array. We need to create an array we need to create an array with our separate multiplied numbers. And how we can do that is if we have an empty array up here, and we're going to call it adjacent products. And we're just going to make that equal to an empty array. And within our for loop, we want to do array underscore push, because we're going to push each product into the array as a separate value. I'm just trying to see what I've got done wrong here. We need to say, because we're not pushing it anywhere, we need to say where are we going to push it. So we want to push this answer into adjacent products, so the array which we've just created. Products, comma, and then what are we pushing? Well, we're going to push the input array I times input array I plus 1. So all of these values here, so 18 minus 12, 10, minus 35, and 21, should individually be pushed into adjacent products as their own element. So if I was here going to do echo, or let's just do return. Return adjacent products. Yep, semicolons, return the tests. Now what we've got is in our output, we've got the adjacent products being pushed into the array up here, and their separate element. So we've got 21 at the end here now, and the last thing that we want to do is we just want to get the maximum number. So what we would use here is max. If we wrap our brackets around the adjacent products array and then run the tests, we're going to get the maximum number, which in this case is 21, 9 out of 9. So for every single one, we're going to get the maximum. If we do submit, it's correct. And this is the final code for adjacent elements product in PHP.